And we are back today to talk some Colorado football. And I know that you guys have a lot of expectations. There's a lot of excitement around this program swirling around as Coach Prime, he's here and he's put it all over social media. We have Tim Brewster here today with us as well. Tell us a little bit more just about the excitement that you guys have for the Colorado football program and the idea around the hashtag week coming.
Well, thank you, Preston. I appreciate you having me on. And there's just a great deal of excitement right now in Boulder, Colorado, surrounding Coach Prime, the staff that he's put together. I mean, this staff is absolutely amazing. And what we're doing is we're just trying to feed off of the excitement that Coach Prime has created. And we couldn't be more pleased with what we accomplished in basically, Preston, we had 2 weeks before the early signing, and we signed a great group of kids this past Wednesday. Really, really excited about all of those guys and the things that they're going to do. Because, again, it goes back to this. University of Colorado football has not been relevant for a long time, for too long, okay? One of my closest friends is Mike McCartney. His father was Bill McCartney, okay? Tremendous, tremendous coach at the University of Colorado. We want to make him proud again. We want to make Buff fans proud again, okay? And we're gonna absolutely, Preston, be relentless in how we chase greatness and the way that we're going to build this program with really good kids, great character, great athletes representing the community, doing all the things that people want these young guys to do. And I was with Coach Prime at Jackson State this past season. I was part of his staff there and watched up close and personal the type of relationships that he builds with the players, how those players want to run through a wall for Coach Prime. I mean, it's absolutely amazing the response that Coach Prime gets from his players. And again, love is the reason for the fight, Preston, okay? Coach Prime loves these kids and these kids love him back, okay? And that's how we're going to make the University of Colorado Buffs great again, by really having an amazing buy-in factor from our players.
Yeah, and that's a good way to do it. And you know what? I really commend Coach Prime and the staff for kind of sticking it out with Jackson State. You knew you were going to Colorado, but you stuck it out. You coached the Celebration Bowl, and you fought it to the end. I know we had to endure. I'm an Oklahoma fan. We had to endure a rough patch last year where we lost our head coach, and then had to find someone to replace him in the meantime to coach our bowl game. So that was tough. And I commend you guys for doing that, because you don't see a lot of people do that nowadays.
Yeah, Preston. I mean, it was, and I did not coach in the Celebration Bowl. I was in Boulder helping get the program off the ground, and I was out recruiting and doing some things that Coach Prime wanted me to do. But Coach Prime, there wasn't a doubt in my mind that he was going to finish the mission. He gave his heart and soul to Jackson State, and there was no way that he was not going to finish what he started. Disappointing loss to North Carolina Central. Congratulations to them. They played their tails off in that game. But no, there was no question that Coach Prime was going to see that game through and be with those kids. It was extremely emotional for him with the attachment he had to the players at Jackson State. It was really hard for me. It gutted me not being there for the celebrate because I was extremely connected and close to those kids, and not being there that day, it hurt. It hurt my heart. But you know what? The bottom line is those kids know that we love them. We love them, and we're always going to be there for them. But again, it just goes back, Preston, to what type of man you have when you're dealing with a guy like Coach Prime.
Yeah, and you talked about how you weren't there, but Coach Prime was there coaching that game. But you were back in Colorado prepping for literally one of Colorado's biggest recruiting weekends that they probably have ever had. You guys had a lot of kids there, a lot of big-name kids there, whether they were future or current guys in this 2023 class. What were some of your tasks, and what role did you play that weekend in getting the kids there and trying to recruit them?
Well, and I wasn't by myself. I mean, the existing recruiting staff at the University of Colorado did an amazing job. They really did, and we were extremely organized. We had a bunch of great kids on campus. It was done as well as you could do it. Again, we knew that we were only going to have 2 weekends prior to the early signing, and so we had to seize the moment. Okay, we had to seize the moment. We had to attack the recruiting process and very, very quickly, because this is the thing. I think a lot of coaches make a serious mistake. They tell these kids, "Trust me, trust me." I think that's the worst mistake that a coach can make, is to asking a kid to trust you when they don't know you. Okay, and so I believe in you. Let me earn your trust. Let me earn your trust. And so, I mean, in a very, very short period of time, we were trying to build relationships and earn trust. And again, I couldn't be more proud of the staff and everything that they accomplished in putting together. I think that right now we're ranked in the top 20 somewhere in recruiting. It was just, it's nothing short of amazing. And so, but again, hey, you're right, Preston. It was fast and furious, buddy.
Yeah, I looked at some of the names that were there. You guys had some awesome names. We'll obviously not mention the guys that are not signed with you guys, so you don't get in trouble for that one. But one of the guys that I thought was the most intriguing for this class was the 4-star running back out of Derby, Kansas, Dylan Edwards. He had kind of made his rounds, a guy that was looking at Oklahoma for a while, ended up going to Kansas, committed to Kansas State, decommitted there, committed to Notre Dame, and last second, y'all come in swinging for that guy. You land him, and he's, I think, really got a guy along with Hopkins at the wide receiver position that can really help stabilize that offense in terms of the 2023 recruiting class. So I always like to look at it when you look at the 247 composite rankings at the recruiting side, and then the transfer. You guys have put up. You guys are number, I think it's 7 or no, number 6 in the Pac-12 so far in the recruiting, and that's just what you guys have been able to do so far without the second round of signing day coming up. And then, with what you guys have gotten in the transfer portal rankings, yeah, y'all are putting up together a stellar top 25 class. So,
yeah, no question. And again, we needed to upgrade. We've got to go and we've got to recruit the elite player. We've got to get the elite player to come play at the University of Colorado for Coach Prime and this coaching staff. And we're going to go after the best of the best. Okay, we've got a bunch of really good recruiters on this staff. Obviously, I'm a veteran, experienced recruiter, been out and about, all over this nation, and I talk about, you got to hunt the big game. Okay. You got to get game changers, guys that can change the scoreboard, guys that can make dynamic athletic plays, play with amazing speed and toughness and all the attributes that you want out of a great player. And that's what, I mean, University of Colorado, Boulder, Colorado is truly one of the most beautiful places in the United States. I don't know, Preston, whether or not you've ever been to Boulder, whether or not you've ever been in Folsom Field. The environment is absolutely electric. But what we've got to do is we've got to win. We've got to win, and we've got a short period of time to prepare for our first game in Texas Christian, TCU, on the road. Okay. Then we come back and we play our friends to the east, Nebraska. Okay. really looking forward to that opportunity, big time. Okay, that's a huge rival game, and we're excited about that. But we got to handle TCU first. But again, building this roster, Preston, building this roster with men of character and athletic ability, all those great is what we have to do. And again, one of my favorite words in the English language is relentless. We will be absolutely relentless at making the Colorado Buffs great again.
Yeah, so you're talking about finding guys that exemplify good character, and that I'm assuming you guys want guys that are relentless. What are those key qualities that you guys are looking for in a recruit with guys that are still left or guys that are hitting the portal?
I mean, again, this is what I find. All my experience tells me, Preston, is that you got to love the game. You got to love the game. Your love for the game grade has to be, off the charts. Okay. When we look at tape, we want to see a player that absolutely loves the game of football. If you love football, football will love you back. Okay. And we're looking for men, first of all, that are, smart and tough, and they love the game. Okay. They're just passionate about the game. And if you surround yourself, okay, and Preston, we have a very identified profile for every position, how tall we want them to be, how much we want them to weigh, how much, the speed that they have, all those different things. But really, you're looking for the intangible qualities, the intangible things where, a kid, it's really, really important to a young man that he represent his university in a big time way, that we win. We're looking to recruit winners. If you haven't won in high school, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. We want winners. Coach Prime is a winner. Okay. He's never lost at anything he's ever done. And he surrounded himself with men. I was part of a national championship at Florida State, okay? I know what a national championship player is supposed to look like. I know what these players are supposed to practice like, and we're bringing Charles Kelly from University of Alabama, won multiple national championships. He's going to be the DC. Sean Lewis was a head coach at Kent State, coming here, going to be the offensive coordinator. We have put together one hell of a group of men to lead these players to where we want to go.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds like you guys are putting together a staff that, shows those qualities that you guys are looking for in terms of the players. You've asked if I ever been to Colorado. I have. I went to Boulder last year for a friend's bachelor party. Beautiful, beautiful. I think it's one of the only times that I've been to Colorado. I think the last time that I was there, I went to Monarch, Colorado for skiing. But I've never been to Folsom Field. I do plan on trying to make it out next year, though, for a game at some point, at some way or another, because y'all got a lot of good games next year on your schedule, including USC coming to town. I think that might be the game that I'm circling on my calendar.
I got you. Want to go see your buddy Lincoln?
I'm sorry, my AirPods broke up.
I said you want to go see your buddy Lincoln.
Oh, I want to go see Lincoln get beat. That's what I want to see.
Now it's coming out, huh, Preston?
Listen. I'll admit it. I think it's time for Sooner fans to get move on, but I also think it's okay for us to be petty about it a little bit, because that one stung a little bit.
I got you, buddy, and
I get it. It's all business. It's all business. Y'all get to move jobs just like I get to move jobs, but that don't mean I can't be upset about it.
Right. I got you, buddy. Hey, and listen, you're exactly right. We're gonna have some great opportunities to show how good a football program we are next season. And opening the season on the road at TCU against a heck of a football team, that's going to be a tremendous challenge to us. But again, that school to the east in game 2, that one's one where I think it's going to be no place for the weak nor the timid.
You know what? It's a good thing, though, that y'all are having to play that game at home, instead of having to go to Nebraska, because for a lot of those kids, that one might shock them a little bit to have to go to Nebraska the first year. So I think playing that one in Folsom might help you guys out a little bit.
Well, it doesn't matter. To be honest with you, we'll play them in the parking lot. Okay, it don't matter. Yeah, it's a rival game, and I tell you one thing: our coaching staff and our players are going to be awful excited about that football game.
Oh, I definitely think I'll be excited to watch that football game on TV. You got a first year coach in Matt Rule at Nebraska, and then you got the first year Deion Sanders at Colorado. So a lot of opportunities and a lot of good storylines around that game for people to be excited about.
Yeah, no question about it, Preston.
Yeah, so I want to ask a couple more questions around the recruiting side. And these have always been questions that kind of intrigue me, and how a new staff recruits kids to a destination. How do you guys explain to a kid how you're going to use them in your system and in your scheme when you guys don't even have film at the place that you're at?
Well, you have previous film, Preston. You have film from where you came from. Sean Lewis was the offensive coordinator at Kent State. Okay, and so he has tons of film of the things that he did at Kent State and the things that we're going to do at the University of Colorado, and we're going to incorporate some new things, some different things, but the basics of the offense will be there. What Sean was doing at Kent State. So yeah, you're able to show that. Charles Kelly is able to show a player. University of Alabama tape, one of the best defenses in college football, and I can't say enough about Charles Kelly. Charles Kelly was, he was the defensive coordinator at Florida State. He's an amazing coach, family man, recruiter. I would just, when Coach Prime, when I found out that Charlie Kelly was going to come be our defensive coordinator, I just knew that, okay, this thing. I mean, Coach Prime is really doing some great things. He's really identifying tremendous men to come be a part of his first staff at the University of Colorado, and so Charlie will show that. Each individual. I've coached the best tight ends in college football. Okay, I've coached 14 college tight ends to be NFL tight ends. I coached Antonio Gates. Okay, I'm going to sit with him in Canton, Ohio, when he's going to be inducted into the National Football League Hall of Fame. For a year at the University of Florida, I had the pleasure of coaching Kyle Pitts, the highest drafted tight end in the history of the NFL draft. And so, I've got all different kinds of cut-ups and clips of what I'm going to do with the tight ends. We're going to, I've already got it out there, Preston. Very quickly, University of Colorado is going to become tight end U.
Hey, that's a big claim to take. But I'm looking at your 247 recruiting profile, and you've recruited some other, or you at least have been in on recruitments outside of the guys at the tight end position that have been pretty successful in the league. Whether that's the defensive tackle Marvin Wilson while you guys were at Florida State,
right.
You had Dalvin Cook, Ermon Lame, you had Desmond Evans at North Carolina, Malik Henry at Florida State. How does utilizing some of the other guys that you have either helped recruit or coached at some of those positions, how are you or do you guys try to use those in your recruitments and pitches to other players, whether that's public or just, on the in-home visits or on the recruiting trail? How does that work?
Well, I recruit all positions. Okay, I recruit every position on the field. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to make sure, okay, that my room is always fully stocked with outstanding tight ends. That's my responsibility, and so I'm going to make certain that we've got really elite tight ends wherever I'm at. And then I also, I recruit areas. I've spent a great deal of time in Texas. I've coached at both Texas and Texas A&M. Okay, I've got tremendous understanding of the state of Texas and Houston, Texas in particular, and all my ties. I coached at Florida State. I coached at Florida. So, you're talking about two of the best football states in the United States, and I really have intimate knowledge and detail of those two states, of Florida and the state of Texas. And so I'm just going to go I'm going to go chase the absolute best player. I've got no desire to recruit an average player. I want to recruit elite players, and that's what I do. Okay. I'll pass on a kid that I don't think is a game changer, that is not an elite player. Okay. And that's how we won a national championship at Florida State. And that's how we're going to try to win a national championship at the University of Colorado. And, when you have coaches like Charles Kelly, I'm recruiting a safety, and I bring Charlie Kelly in, and he's got 15, 20, kids that he put in the league at Alabama. You want to sell each other. That's what we do. I think we do a great job of, Preston, is selling the virtues of each other. If I'm recruiting a quarterback, I'm going to get Sean Lewis involved with him ASAP and let Sean sell his vision for the offense and how we're going to do things. And so we just really do a great job, I think, of piggybacking each other. And again, you got to take the ego out of it. Okay. You got to take the egos away. Doesn't matter who gets who. Okay. What matters is that you're getting the best players to come to your school, who cares who gets the credit? I've recruited 100 great players in my career, but you know what? Doesn't matter a rip. Okay. The only thing that matters is how many games have we won? Are we winning games? And that's all I'm about. I'm about winning games. That's why we're at Colorado. That's why I do what I do. It's about winning, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I hear that. How do you guys utilize those ex-players though or do you guys try to utilize those ex-players at other schools to help you guys bring kids into the current school you're at, or do they kind of just sit on the sideline and go, listen, we love you, you helped us where we were at, but I got loyalty to that school?
No, I don't think you really get involved in that much. I mean, Preston, I don't know exactly the direction that you want to go with the question, but it just, every kid that I've ever coached, I love to death. And I think in return, I've got a tremendous relationship with all the tight ends that I've coached. And I've been a head coach. I was a head coach at the University of Minnesota. I love the opportunity I had there. So many kids that I touched, and we just, so yeah, I think that's what it's, that's really what it's all about. Is, what's really cool to me, Preston, is when I go to the wedding of one of my ex-players, when one of my ex-players, Coach Brew, I'm having my first baby. Okay. The other thing, Preston, to me is standing with your player. Okay. Standing with your player when he's at his graduation. That's the greatest, that's, you win national championships, you do all these great things. But when a kid graduates, maybe he's the first kid in a family to graduate, there's tears, mom, that's the day when I know we've really accomplished something special. When the young man that went through the process and came and trusted you, came to your school, and he's leaving with a degree. That's what it's all about, Preston.
Yeah, no, and I love that answer because college football gives so many kids an opportunity to make something of themselves that they might have not had an opportunity to before. Like, it really does. And college football of all sports, because college football in one team, you can have 80 guys on that team. Right. And so you guys get the opportunity to touch and impact multiple people's lives and potentially change the trajectory of not only their future, but the future of their kids and their kids' kids, and just an entire for generations to come. So I love that answer. And I love to see that that's what one of your guys' primary focuses are with the players.
Yeah, no question about it. That's truly success, Preston, right? When you bring it in all the trials and tribulations that kids go through 3 or 4 or 5 years in college, it's just a shame that more kids don't finish the mission as far as getting their degree. And it's really, really important to me that my guys walk away with a degree, because as you well know, Preston, the NFL stands for not for long. Okay. And there's so many there's so many kids out there that are, that put all their eggs in one basket about being an NFL player. The average length of career in the NFL is less than 3 years. I mean, they're 24, 25 years old. Well, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I've seen so many sad situations that way. But, again, I encourage anybody out there. It's never too late. I know there's 65, 70-year-old people that are finishing their degrees. I mean, it's never too late to go finish a degree. And I would just, like I said, I encourage all players, make sure you take advantage of the opportunity to get your degree, and you work really, really hard as a player. The degree is somewhat of a payback for how hard you've worked, okay, to get that degree.
Yeah. And so what's your guys' take? So let's say I come into your office and I'm like, yo, coach, I got my draft grades came back and I'm a day 2 pick, but I still got, a whole nother year of eligibility left on the thing. Like, do you tell me, no, go take the chance at the NFL and then come back for your degree later because you're so high, or you're like, no, like you really should stick it out for this degree first, continue to develop yourself, and maybe you turn into a first-round pick?
Right. I think that's a very, very hard question, Preston, to ask. And kids today, there's a lot of kids that are 3 and out. Okay. And what you have to do is you have to get these kids prepared, to understand, okay, this is my plan. I'd like to have to make a decision at the end of my 3rd year in college as to whether or not it's a viable option for me to go to the National Football League. Okay. And what you've got to set up his class schedule, his academics, so that he's as close to being a graduate at the end of 3 years as he possibly can be. Okay. But the bottom line is this, is that, you can go through the process. The NFL will give you an evaluation. Okay. And, and you just, if it's a 1st-round grade, if you're getting a 1st-round grade, then there's no question, you go. Okay. But the problem is a lot of these guys, these 3rd-year guys, are making themselves eligible for the NFL draft, and, they're free agents. Guys don't get drafted. They're 6th, 7th round draft picks. They're making a very, very poor decision. And so what we have to do with our players is really do a great job of giving them really educated advice. Okay. And the NFL does a great job of providing that information for the player. Okay. And so, we'll sit down and there's nobody in the world that can explain, can talk to these kids about the NFL than Coach Prime, and we're always going to look out for what's best for the young man and his family. Okay. If he's going to be a 1st-round draft pick, we're more than happy to, that he's going to go and he's going to sign a contract that is going to take care of him and his family for the rest of their lives, But again, what we've got to make sure of is that we're really educating the players that are going to be mid to later round draft. Even some of them may even be free agents that still make themselves available to the draft. We have to eliminate that and help these kids make proper decisions.
No, I love to hear that. I love to hear that, because that's always been something that's on my mind when I see the kids go. I'm like, you're a 4th or 5th round pick. Did you put any thought about returning? And I know they do, but that's always a question. I think that's on my mind a lot, on a lot of people's minds. So let's get back to talking some more Colorado football, because that's what everybody's here to listen to. That's what everybody's all excited about. So you talked about the vision that you and Coach Prime and this staff have for the program and the ideas of how long it could potentially take you to go win a national championship and bring Colorado back to that supremacy. They won in 1990, but outside of that, they've kind of just been on the downtrend. And I know Buffs fans and college football fans themselves would just like to see a little bit more parity in college football and potentially see the Colorado, especially in Coach Prime, win a national championship. How do you feel the expansion of the college football playoffs is going to help you guys be able to get in to those opportunity to win a national championship faster?
Well, I think that it's a positive thing, Preston, in enlarging the playoff. I think it's time that we go to, if it's 12, and I think it is 12, what they're talking about going to. Again, it just provides more teams an opportunity to get in the arena. Okay, there's something about the NCAA basketball tournament. It's the most televised. There's something about 64 teams, I guess, in the NCAA basketball tournament. Having an opportunity to go win it all, and everybody. If Alabama wins the national championship, it's kind of ho-hum. They've done it a bunch under Coach Saban. They've done a wonderful job. But I'm going to tell you what, this year you got TCU in the playoffs, right, Preston?
Yep. TCU's in the playoffs, and that one's exciting. That one adds a lot of parity to the playoffs this year.
No question about it. And don't think there's not going to be a whole bunch of people out there rooting on them Horned Frogs, and excited about the Horned Frogs having an opportunity to go win a national championship. And as they enlarge the group and it goes to 12, you got more teams with more opportunities. But the bottom line is this, Preston, you got to earn the right. Okay. You've got to earn the right to get in the dance. Okay. And one thing we're going to do, and I said this earlier, there's no team in America that's going to work any harder or be more relentless chasing greatness than we will. Okay. No team. Okay. I know that for a fact. Okay. I know how Coach Prime rolls and how this coaching staff, how we're going to prepare our football team to go win football games. And so, how soon that's going to be, Preston? Is it going to be, how many games what we have to do is do our job. We have to do our job as coaches. We have to do our jobs as players and come together as a unit, as a unified team, and go win football games. And I don't think it's going to take us long to do that, Preston. I really don't. I think that, as we said, with the portal, with us upgrading the roster very, very quickly, I think it's going to give us it must translate to wins. Bottom line, okay? You can talk about all you want, all the portal stuff, all the recruiting. The bottom line is, does it translate to victories? And that's what we're all about, is making the Colorado Buff Nation fired up and exciting, making Folsom Field be one of the absolute most electric stadiums in America. It's all sitting out there for us, Preston. Now it's just time to dive in and really do the work.
Yeah, and putting in the work will definitely get you guys there. I think you guys are probably, as of where the program currently sits, 2 to 3 years away, especially with the playoffs expanding in 24 and 25. It just gives you guys the opportunity to really get there. You talked about the transfer portal being one of the big key components, being able to turn a roster around. How does being able, because this year specifically, you guys are going to have to turn over a ton of that roster, and a lot of it's probably going to have to be done in the portal. How do you get all of these guys from all over the country, all of the different schools to come in year one and try to be able to build some chemistry and mesh together to be able to put together a competitive squad? I feel like personally that'd be hard to do.
Well, and we have a tremendous leader. We have a tremendous leader in Coach Prime, who is a relationship builder. Okay. He builds relationship. I've never seen a guy, and I was with him this whole season. We go into a team meeting at 7:15 a.m. and for 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer sometimes, Coach Prime inspires, he motivates. He just, again, builds a culture that those kids, they can't wait to 7:15 a.m. because Coach Prime is going to walk in that room and he's going to do nothing but spit wisdom, truth. Again, remember this, okay? Remember this about players. Players want truth, okay? They want a coach that's going to speak truth to them. Coaches want trust. Trust. We have to be able to trust the player. And so the combination of those two things allows you to build something very, very quickly, okay? If we're getting the right players, from the portal, or whether or not we signed them out of high school or junior college, we must get the right players. But again, I don't see any limitations, Preston. I think we're probably a little further ahead than your 2 to 3 year plan. At least I know that Coach Prime is anticipating us doing it a little faster than that. And I'm going to tell you what, I would really be hard pressed to bet against Coach Prime.
Yeah, I know. I think it's hard to bet against them, especially with what we saw him do on the recruiting trail last year and what potentially could be in the works this year. It is hard to bet against him. Hey, if he wants to try to do it before 2 or 3 years, all credit to him, and we'll crown him then at that point. So, and let's be honest, I get to see Coach Prime and Nick Saban in the Aflac videos. I would love to see Coach Prime versus Nick Saban in the national championship game for all the chips. I think that would just be a lot of fun.
I'm in full agreement. I'd love to be part of that as well, Preston. I think that'd be very cool.
Yes. So just a couple more things. Let's say I'm the number one tight end of the country, right? And, I've got all the big schools, Georgia, Alabama, all of them looking at me. What is your recruiting pitch to get me to Colorado?
Well, again, and I base it on my background, okay, Preston. Okay, I was a tight end at the University of Illinois. I was a pass catching tight end. I was with a couple of different teams in the National Football League as a player. I'm a much better coach than I was player. But again, when you look at, okay, I have an amazing burning passion for tight end play. I love it. I've been a head coach. I've coached wide receivers. I've basically coached everything on the offensive side of the ball. But I'm a tight end guy, okay? And I mean, Preston, I can't, the passion just absolutely burns in me when I'm coaching a kid, okay? And so I'm going to sell the player. I'm going to sell you on the fact that I've had multiple Mackey Award winners, okay? I've coached a Hall of Fame tight end in Antonio Gates. I coached the highest drafted tight end in the history of the National Football League draft. Okay. I will coach the living bejesus out of my tight ends. Okay. My tight ends are going to be tough. They're going to be athletic. My tight ends are going to be leaders of the football team. And I just, and again, too, it goes back to a relationship, having a truly relating to kids, okay? Relating to kids. And I just say this much, and I think it's really important, is one of the greatest fears that I had as a father would be one of my sons got into a situation and he didn't feel like he could talk to me about it, okay? I feel the same way about my players. I want my players, when we're on the grass, when we walk to the practice field, at some point, we're going to flip the switch and we're going to become somebody different. We're going to be a terror on the field, okay? When we come off the field, I want to have a relationship with my players where they're very, very comfortable in talking to me. If a phone call needs to be made at 4 a.m., one of my guys is in a jam, I want them to make that call. I don't want them calling somebody else. And so again, We build, and time is our enemy, Preston. Okay. I'm a big time is the enemy. We have to get better today. Okay. There's nobody in America that will grind harder than I will at making his players great, at making his, preparing my players for success on Saturday. That's absolutely critical. And again, off the field, being somebody that my players really respect, and we use love is a very common used word these days. I love my guys, and my guys know that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's a great way of putting it. I love how, you want the players to be able to reach out to you. You want them to feel comfortable in coming to you in those uncomfortable situations. And I think that's a point that we miss across just anything nowadays with fathers or coaches. Like, it's something I think that we miss, really teaching kids it's like okay to come to me in those moments, allow
Right.
those mistakes to help you grow and make you better. So I love hearing that. What advice do you give to a recruit, maybe somebody that's not being nationally looked at? We hear and we see the tweets all the time. Coach Brian puts it out there and says, I'm not hard to find, not a hard guy to find, maybe a hard guy to get a hold of. What advice do you give to those recruits that are looking for that opportunity and are trying to get a hold of Coach Prime and put themselves out there? What advice do you give them?
Well, I just, social media is an amazing weapon in recruiting, and those that utilize social media like Coach Prime does are having huge success. I mean, huge. The Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff at the University of Colorado has gone through the roof since Coach Prime's been the head coach. I mean, it just like the views, the YouTube stuff. It's absolutely crazy. What I would tell these young guys is if they have an interest in the University of Colorado to reach out. To reach out. It's not hard to reach out. It's not hard to get a message sent to Coach Prime, to myself, anybody on the coaching staff. If you're interested in playing football at the University of Colorado, we can get you evaluated. That's the one thing that we can promise these kids is that we will evaluate you, okay? And we will be extremely truthful in our evaluation, okay? If we think a kid has a chance to help us at the University of Colorado, we'll go full speed ahead. If not, we're going to be honest with a young man and say it's not the right fit. You're not the right fit for us at the University of Colorado for whatever reason it may be. Again, what do players want, Preston? Players want truth, okay? Coaches want trust. Okay, when the game's on the line in the fourth quarter, I better be able to trust you. I better be able to. And again, with the player, they just want somebody that's going to be truthful with them, that's going to give them an honest answer. And that's one thing that's very, very important to us is being truthful with our players.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap up here, what is something that you want to tell Colorado fans and get out there that we haven't talked about today?
Well, what did Coach Prime say? Coach Prime at his introductory press conference, he coined a phrase. What was it, Preston?
We coming.
We coming. We coming. Okay, and I'm just gonna let the Colorado Buff fans know that we are coming as fast, as furious, as hard, as relentless as you can absolutely come. Okay, we are not gonna sit back and wait for anything. We're gonna push the envelope, and again, we're gonna try to make the Buff Nation proud of the product that we put on the field, proud on the field, proud in the community, proud in life of these players. I think that's vitally important to the overall process, and just Buff Nation just get your seats, get in Folsom Field, get in there, light that environment up, give us a chance to lift these players up, and it's going to be it is going to be one hell of a ride, Buff Nation.
And it's going to be one hell of a season for you guys. And here's the deal. And I'm going to give Colorado fans a little advice here. OU this year, with the first year new head coach at the program, put up a record spring game attendance of 70,000. Y'all's capacity at your stadium is 53,000. I believe Coach Prime and Tim Brewster would agree with me on this. Pack the stadium for the spring game, 53,000 strong, because that'll go a long way for the recruiting. Recruits will get excited about that.
Absolutely. So. Hey, Preston, I couldn't have said it any better myself, buddy.
All right. Well, hey, if you guys enjoyed this, please go ahead, jump down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys are thinking about the trajectory of the Colorado football program. Are you excited? What are you most looking forward to in the 2023 season? If you haven't already, hit the like and the subscribe button. Really appreciate you guys for tuning in. And until then, see you guys next time.
Preston, thank you so much. Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.